Game manager? I think not. Blake Sims is the man. MarkRogersTV and I talk SEC on the performance of quarterback Blake Sims, not just against Florida this past Saturday, for as good as it was, but for the entire campaign. Blake Sims hit on 23 of 33 against a very talented Florida defense. 445 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Consider where this guy came from and consider the competition, consider the odds and the challenges. This kid has 5 years of equity in this football program with his teammates as well. They've seen him work his butt off for the last 5 years, while the rest of us considered him a complete understudy, a career backup, especially when Jake Coker walked onto campus, the stud from Florida State, in May. We all just figured Jake Coker, this is his job, this is his football team, and Blake Sims is going to be a nice little change up at quarterback who could get some mop-up duty. But Blake Sims has put in the time. He has studied this Lane Kiffin offense, and he has pretty good control over it after just 4 games. He looked really good against West Virginia. The stats were good. Amari Cooper was explosive and spectacular. DeAndrew White chipped in with 6 receptions. Blake Sims looked good, but he was throwing most of his passes underneath. They kept the play calling conservative. They knew what to do with him and putting him in the right spots, the right formations, and right situations. As we talked about a few weeks ago, those 2 cushy games against Southern Miss and Florida International, those have worked to the advantage of the Alabama offense. Now they unleashed Sims against Florida, and he tore up the Gators. Yes, there are issues in Gainesville on defense, but Dante Fowler Jr. and company, Vernon Hargraves III, they are talented on defense. This was a top defense even in going 4-8 last season. Yes, they have issues on defense. They need to shore up the defense. They looked bad in spots even against the Kentucky Wildcats. But 645 yards, an all-time record against Florida. 645 yards. This is the most explosive offense we have seen under Nick Saban. In winning all those national championships, they never unleashed anything like this against a quality set of defenders. Maybe not a quality defense, but talent on defense. 645 yards in a 42-21 drubbing against a decent team, a 7-5, 8-4 type of Florida team. But again, 645 yards in a beatdown that could have been much worse than it was if Alabama would not have made some mistakes on offense. Sims, 23 of 33, 445, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. And this was the kid who was going to be the career backup. But he has built up his confidence during the offseason. He worked not just the 4 years prior to this, but as a possible starter during the spring, during the summer. Amari Cooper talked about it in the summer, individual workouts, where the coaches can only see about 2 hours a week. They really bonded, got their games in sync, and it's paid off. Amari Cooper, yes, we know that talent is off the charts. He had the exceptional freshman season in 2012, culminated with the game-winning touchdown against Georgia in the SEC championship game, 1,000 yards receiving, made Notre Dame look silly in the BCS championship game, had the injury, had some issues in which it looked like he just wasn't in it the first half of 2013. He got it together. He had a decent campaign in regards to numbers, but Amari Cooper was close to what he should be by the end of 2013. And then, wow, to consider in this offense that an Alabama receiver leads the nation with 43 catches, this is pretty amazing stuff. So Sims goes from game manager, hand the ball to Yeldon, Henry, and Drake, to a guy who makes plays. And we should have possibly seen this coming. He was a top 10 dual threat quarterback coming out of high school. And let's give some credit to Lane Kiffin as well. He has dialed up the right plays for this kid, and he has brought him along again against West Virginia, a game we didn't expect the Tide to be challenged in, but they were. Sims made the plays. He hung on to the football. He made the right throws, and Kiffin kept him bottled up in that game. They've worked out some things in the next couple weeks, and they exploded against the Florida Gators. And Lane Kiffin, a guy that has always had his quarterback under center and not been the offensive coordinator or coached an up-tempo offense, always the pro-style offense. So Lane Kiffin has brought some creativity to this offense, and he has adapted to what Blake Sims does well. And the sky's the limit for this Alabama offense. Would love to hear what you have to say about the Alabama offense. Blake Sims and what Alabama could possibly do this season with all this talent on offense, potentially, again, the most explosive offense of the Saban era. Let's talk about it right here on iTalk SEC and Mark Rogers TV.